Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Mormon Atheist. All right. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I know there's many of you that are watching that are not subscribed, so please subscribe to the channel. We are doing a ongoing series on William Morgan's book, Illustrations of Masonry. This is going to be episode 16, chapter 14. And I strongly urge everybody to begin this series with the video called The Light Thread, okay? And that is not the official first video of this series, okay? But in a lot of ways, the Light Thread is the video right before this series. And then I kind of went on a 2-week hiatus because I was really contemplating on doing this book, but in kind of a different way though, right? And so this book really means a lot to me, Apostate Congregation, because in a lot of ways, this book is kind of where this entire thing begins, in modern day pop culture, you understand? So I want to begin this episode, and we are William Morgan, Apostate Congregation. I keep saying that over and over again in all my videos. Okay, and this is why. Okay, I want, on page 70 in our last episode, I ended with reading the wrong quote, okay, from William Morgan. And the muse works in mysterious ways. And so in this time, it gave me like a little bit of time to kind of think about that. And then I rewatched the video, and the quote that I did read, okay, heavily pertains to this conversation, these series, right? And I've like I said before, right? Like there's stuff in here that I'm gonna pass over because in my mind I'm like, well, everybody knows this, right? And so I just kind of glaze over it, and I don't really But then there's stuff that you're gonna catch, right? And you guys are going to see stuff for yourself and make your own correlations as to, all of this, right? As far as it pertains to Mormonism. And so I want to start this episode by recapping last episode with that quote, William Morgan quote, okay? Because it really means a lot to me personally, okay? Because William Morgan is speaking to us, congregation, in this quote. All throughout this book, he is legitimately talking to the future reader, us, right? The future reader, okay? So here we go, on page 70. William Morgan says to me and you about this book, okay? I make these remarks now, hoping that it may induce some person who has time and capacity to investigate the subject. That's us. That's you. Okay? That's me. And promulgate the result of his investigation. Tell the people, tell everybody, tell people, talk about it. Say what you find, right? I shall let the subject rest where it is at present. It is not intended that I should form any part of this little volume It is not intended that it should form any part of this little volume. The principal object of this work is to lay before the world a true history of Freemasonry. I insert, you insert, slash speculative, okay? Freemasonry, without saying anything for or against it, okay? That is so powerful. We are Morgan. We are William Morgan, okay? Powerful stuff. Powerful, powerful stuff. Excuse me, apostates, while I take a drink of my mason jar of coffee. Okay, so now we continue with this episode on page 75, where we left off last episode. Okay, so page 75, we continue. It says, furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will obey all regular signs, summonses, and tokens given, handed, sent, or thrown to me from the hand of my brother Master Mason, or from the body of a just and lawfully constituted lodge of such, provided it be within the length of my cable toe. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that a Master Mason's secret, okay, remember, we are continuing on the third degree of Masonry, all right? Let's pause it right there, and remember, this is the third or Master Mason's degree is what we are continuing on. Sorry, I should have said that before. Okay, within my cable tilt. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that a Master Mason's secrets given to me in charge as such, and I knowing them to be such, shall remain as secure and inviolable in my breast as in his own, when communicated to me, murder and treason accepted. Okay, murder and treason accepted. And they left to my own elections. Okay. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will go on a Master Mason's errand whenever required? Right? Remember, the Master Mason is the prophet, right? Or that's the Grand Master. I'm sorry. The Master Mason would be the Master of the Lodge, right? Even should I have to go barefoot or bareheaded, it within the length of my cable toe, right? They go on missions. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will always remember a brother, Master Mason, when on my knees offering up my devotions to Almighty God. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will be aiding and assisting all poor, indigent Master Masons, their wives and orphans, wheresoever disposed around the globe, as far as in my power, without injuring myself or family materially. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that if any part of my solemn oath or obligation be admitted at this time, that I will withhold myself amenable thereto whenever informed. To withhold myself amenable thereto, okay, to all which I do most sincerely promise and swear with a fixed and steady purpose of mind in me, to keep and perform the same, binding myself under the less penalty than to have my body severed in two in midst, and divided into the north and south. My bowels burnt to ashes in the center, and the ashes scattered before the fourth winds of heaven, before the four winds of heaven. Okay, remember the story of, William Morgan and how he died, right? He died the same exact way, right? That there might not the least track or trace of remembrance remain among men or masons of so vile and perjured a wretch. Page 76, as perjured a wretch should be, were I ever to provide willfully guilty or violation. Guilty or violating any part of this my solemn oath or obligation of a master mason. So help me God, and keep me steadfast in the due performances of the same. Okay, the master mason then asks the candidate, what do you most desire? The candidate answers after his prompter, more light. Right here, we're in search of this light, right? You remember. The bondage which has tied round his head, the bandage which was tied round his head in the preparation room is by one of the brethren who stands behind him for that purpose loosens and put over loosened and put over both of his both eyes, and he is immediately brought to the light in the same manner as in the preceding degree. Right? They put it over the one eye, or they just just immediately whip it off, like boom, you see the light, right? This stuff is being created, apostates. I want you to remember that and to keep that into context, okay? Right? So this very much is a stage, right? This is a play. They're acting out a play, okay? In this new thing called speculative Freemasonry, which is a religious institution, the Church of Masonry, okay? And so these are all it's stunning when you compare this to Mormonism, right? And all of the allegory and all of the sentiment and all of the meaning and all of the actions and all of the symbolism. And there's so much more to it than just the symbolism, right? Where everybody's like, oh, it's that symbol, this. Well, there's more to it. There's the actions, right? There's the rules, there's the ceremonies, there's the rules of the ceremonies, there's all this other stuff that's involved, right? That you could literally take and correlate directly to Mormonism, right? And yes, over time the stuff has changed, and it's this other thing called literal Freemasonry in the modern world of today was spawned off, right? And so like these guys are legitimately telling you repeatedly over and over again, there is no such thing as this. These people are creating this, right? So like keep that into your minds, keep that into context here, right? This is very much a stage play, right? That's how I view this, as like these people are creating this stuff, right? It's a stage. They have a theater that you go to, right? That's called a lodge, and they act out all these performance stuff in this lodge, right? In this theater, right? They're acting a play. And they're telling everybody, hey, you can come be actors in our play too, you know? Okay, so more light. The bandage is, as, let's see, where do we go? Where do we leave off? Okay, as in the preceding degree, except three, stamps on the floor and 3 claps of the hands are given in this degree, right? 3 stomps and 3 claps on being brought to the light. The master says to the candidate, you first discover, as before, 3 great lights in Masonry by the assistance of 3 lesser, which I automatically think of, like, my mind just goes to the lesser keys of Solomon. That's just where my mind goes to right off the bat. Okay, sorry. With this difference, both points of the compass are elevated above the square, which denotes to you that you are about to receive all the light that can be conferred on you in a master's lodge. The master steps back from the candidate and says, brother, now discover me, brother, you now discover me as master of this lodge, approaching you from the east under the sign and due guard of a master mason. The sign is given by raising both hands and arms to the elbows perpendicularly, one on each side of the head, the elbows forming a square. The words accompanying this sign, in case of distress, are, okay, listen to this, O Lord my God, is there no help for the widow's son? What did Joseph Smith say? As the last words drop from your lips, okay, and what didn't he say? Remember, they didn't respond. They did not respond to his distress signals, right? O Lord my God, is there no help for the widow's son? As the last words drop from your lips, you let your hands fall in the manner best calculated to indicate solemnity. Okay, and here is a picture. That's a picture of the due guard, sign of distress, right? And then you drop your hands and you say, O Lord God, is there no help for the widow's son? Okay. You drop your hands and let them fall in the manner best suited, right? King Solomon is said to have made this exclamation on the receipt of the information of the death of Hiram Abiff. Okay, remember in the last episode, in previous pages, William Morgan was questioning. He was like, well, there's no evidence of this guy's death. He's this prominent person, but there's no evidence in any literature of this guy's death, or out of all of the people that he supposedly was to have had. Remember the 42 and 1,000 or 4,000 or something like that? Okay. King Solomon is said to have made this exclamation on the receipt of the information of the death of Hiram Abiff. Okay. Masons are charged never to give the words except in the dark, when the sign cannot be seen. Okay? Here Masons differ very much. Some contend that Solomon gave this sign and made this exclamation, and gave this exclamation when informed of Hiram's death, and work accordingly in their lodges. Others say the sign was given and the exclamation made at the grave when Solomon went to raise Hiram. Okay. And of course, they work accordingly. Okay. Remember, that's what's his name? The son, the brother, Joseph's brother, right? They raised his body. Alvin, that's his name. Alvin Smith, right? They raised his body, right? When given the exclamation made to the grave, when Solomon went to raise Hiram, and of course, they work accordingly. That is to say, the master who governs the lodge, holding the latter opinion, gives the sign, etc. And we'll get into it at the grave when he goes to raise the body, and vice versa. Okay? Isn't that insane? Okay, there you go. There's your Alvin right there. Page 77. That's it's the bottom of page 76, and it goes on into page 77. Okay, so the do guard is made by holding both hands in front, palms down, as shown in cut. Okay, we got a picture of it here, but let me read it though, because there's two things going on here. The do guard is made by holding both hands in front, palms down, as shown in the cut. Well, here, I'll just show you the cut. There you go. It's right there. You can pause it, zoom in on it, examine it. Okay, there's two pictures there. And we're going to talk about both of those pictures. And then remember, on the other page was that one. Okay. All right. So here, I'll pull out. There you go. You can get both of them there. All right. Let's keep going. And alludes to the manner of holding the hands while taking the obligation of Master Mason. The penal sign is given by putting the right hand at the left side of the bowels. That was the other picture, okay? Remember, there's two pictures, right? We're talking about the penal sign and the other one we just read, the do guard sign. The penal sign and the do guard sign are what those two pictures are. The penal sign is given by putting the right hand to the left side of the bowels, the hand open with the thumb next to the belly, and drawing it across the belly and letting it fall. This is done tolerably quick. This alludes to the penalty of the obligation, having my body severed in twain. See page 75. Okay, go back to page 75. After the master has given the sign and do guard, which does not take more than a minute, he says, "Brother, I now present you with my right hand in token of brotherly love and affection, and with the passcript and word." Okay, we have another picture of the passcript. The passcript is given by the pressing of the thumb. Here, let's show you the passcript there on the bottom. There's the pass grip. Okay, so you got the signs up there and then the pass grip on the bottom. The pass grip is given by passing the thumb between the joints of the second and third fingers. Okay, so remember now, we're a ways into this, congregation. Okay, you guys following along in the series, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, there's different handshakes and pass grips for each level, right? And if you don't give the correct one in sequence, right, in the proper order with the proper wording, the proper language, it's wrong, and you're not recognized as a fellow Mason if you're wrong. Okay. They did not respond to Joseph. Okay. The joints of the second and third fingers, where they join the hand, the word or name is Tubalcain. Remember earlier, Tubalcain. Remember, apostates, you guys are following these words. You're keeping track of this stuff, right? Because I told you they come up over and over again. And you have to remember what they mean, right? Because he tells you what they mean. So when we get to Southwick doesn't do that. He writes as if you already know this stuff, okay? So when you get into Southwick and Bernard, it's, if you don't know Morgan, you're totally lost. Okay, it's imperative that you understand William Morgan and what he is saying to you. There's more to this than the pass grips and the hands, and there's a collective here. Okay, it's what he's saying collectively bleeds into Mormonism, right? And we have proven that through the literature. Okay, this is not opinion. This is legitimately what the anti-Mormon and anti-Masonic movements are both about. This religious institution. Okay, and when we get to Mormonism, it's a pretended institution, right, of Masonry. In the anti-Masonic movement, it's a pretended religious institution. Okay? Put this stuff together, congregation. It's legitimately in the literature. But you have to go to the original copies of these books to get it. I say that on every single episode, every episode. You have to go to the original copies of these books because the church themselves are the ones that have changed these stories. And we have proven that on this channel time and time again. Every single episode is a different book. Every episode is a different book, except for this series, of course. And I legitimately read every single book that we talk about on this channel. That's how I get this. That's where this comes from, is the literature. It's not my opinion at all. 100%, this is not my opinion. The anti-Masonic movement is legit historical fact. It really did happen in time. You can't argue that. You can't deny that. It really did happen. Okay? So why did it happen? What was it about? And who was involved? These are legit, valid questions, apostate congregation. And this is what has been erased from history. right? And these authors preserved this for us. They wrote it down. Praise these authors. Praise William Morgan. Praise Solomon Southwick. Praise David Bernard. Thurlow Weed does not deserve praise because Thurlow Weed is a character. Okay, that's a whole nother subject, a whole nother video for another time. But apostate congregation, I want you to do your own research into Thurlow Weed. He is supposed to be this incredibly prolific writer, newspaper man, and nothing survives today of his work. Nothing. Except for his autobiography and one pamphlet. That's it. And they're written after his death. Right? So, and there's no, remember who Thurlow Weed is supposed to be, this incredible political person. And there is legitimately zero archival record of Thurlow Weed of any kind in anything. Legit government, civic documents, legit land deeds, nothing. There's nothing. The guy does not exist in time, but he's supposed to be this incredibly, and we have records on every single person that he is supposed to be acquainted with, except for Thurlow Weed. Solomon Southwick never mentions him once. Never once. And he is supposed to be the apprentice of Solomon Southwick. And Solomon Southwick mentions everybody. Everybody. Nobody is off limits to Solomon Southwick. And he never mentions Thurlow Weed once. Never once. He never recites him. He never, nothing. And wouldn't you think that as a prominent, as a, you know, Thurlow Weed is supposed to be Solomon Southwick's apprentice. And he goes on to be this great newspaper man. Thurlow Weed talks about people that he apprenticed all the time and praises them. He never says anything. He's like, yeah, these people, yeah, this guy, yeah. No Thurlow Weed. Zero. Radio silence. Nothing. No Thurlow Weed. Okay, anyways, this is not about Thurlow Weed. But that is very important because he is supposed to be this anti-Masonic writer. Okay, and he's supposed to have all these newspapers. And there's nothing. Historically speaking, there's zero. Okay, let's keep going. Back to the point here is you're supposed to be writing this stuff down, keeping track of these names. Tubalcain is the name of the word, right? Tubalcain. It is the password to the master's degree. Did I show you the handshake? I think I did. Yeah, there's the handshake. I don't remember, so I'll show it to you again. I'm pretty sure I did. The master, after giving the candidate the passscript and word, bids him rise and salute the junior and senior wardens and convince them that he is an obligated Master Mason. I wonder what they have to do to convince him. I wonder if that's like some kind of initiation kind of thing, right? Like you have to go out and like steal a chicken or something to prove you're a Mason. And obligated Master Mason and is in possession of the passscript and word. While the wardens are examining the candidate, the master returns to the east and gets an apron. As he returns to the candidate one of the wardens, sometimes brother, sometimes both, says to the master, worshipful, we are satisfied that brother, and then it's a blank space for whoever, right? Brother, insert name, right? Think of what Mormons call each other, brother, F word, I don't know. Brother F word is an obligated master mason. The master then says to the candidate, brother, I now have the honor to present you with a lambskin or a white apron as before, which I hope you will continue to wear with credit to yourself and satisfaction and advantage to the brethren. You will please carry it to the senior warden in the West, who will teach you how to wear it as a master mason. Right? You got to go be re-educated. The senior warden ties on the apron and lets the flaps, go to page 78, lets the flaps fall down before in the natural and common situation. The master returns to the seat and the candidate is conducted to him. What's our time, congregation? All right, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This channel is not monetized. It will never be monetized. So the only way you can support this channel is liking the videos, sharing them, talking about it to your friends. There's no better advertisement than word of mouth. Reading the books that we talk about on this channel. Yeah, hit the bell because I come on just at complete random times. So, you'll know when I come on. And yeah, just all that stuff, like, subscribe, share. We're not monetized, so it heavily suppresses the channel not being monetized. So the best way to get that out, to get this channel out, is for you to subscribe, right? So I know a lot of you are coming back to the channel, you're rewatching videos, you're all this kind of stuff, and you're not subscribing. So please subscribe. It helps the algorithms get this out. So I know through my analytics that there's an F ton of you out there that are return viewers. So please subscribe. All right, let's keep going. Master to candidate. Brother, I perceive you are dressed. It is, of course, necessary. You should have tools to work with. Okay? Brother, I perceive you are dressed. It is, of course, necessary. You should have tools to work with. I will now present you with the working tools of a master mason and explain their use to you. The working tools of a master mason are all the implements of masonry indiscriminately, but more especially the trowel, right? The trowel, right? All you construction folks, you know what a trowel is, right? The trowel is an instrument made use of by operative masons. Okay, we are what is this? Episode 16? Apostate congregation, we are 16 episodes into this. Is it clear what the difference between an operative mason is and a speculative mason? Okay. An operative mason is the masons of old. They're dead. Nobody knows anything about the Masons of old. And the word Masons is what these people gave them. Okay? Do you understand that? Whoever it is that they're talking about, right? They get this stuff from the Bible, is where they get this, right? So you have to understand what's going on here, right? This new thing called speculative Freemasonry, okay, these people are creating this as they go at the time in the day. Remember, we are talking about the 1800s. This institution was formed long before that, because Solomon Southwick is writing as early as 1805 against this. Okay? So these are things that you have to take into account, right? Okay, this is not, Joseph Smith did not create anything. Okay, is what they did was they turned this into a legit church. And that moment is when Freemasonry and religion separated. Right? 1830. The Church of Christ separates from Freemasonry. Do you understand me? And as we have learned through these books, the Church of Christ existed long before Joseph Smith. So Joseph Smith did not even create the Church of Christ. Henry Smith did. Do you understand me? And you cannot use the argument of there was many Smiths and, bullshit. We are talking about specific people here. Noah Smith Jr., and Henry Smith. They are the creators of this. You understand me? We get this through the literature. This is not opinion. This is legit through in the books. Okay? And once we get to Southwick, I will more than prove that. But you got to wait until we get to Southwick. And you got to subscribe. I will more than prove that. And then when we get to Bernard, I'll put the effing nail in the coffin. Okay? This is no bullshit, apostate congregation. Like, I can't express that to you enough. This is legitimately no bullshit. Okay? The LDS Church is the religious institution of Masonry, the Church of Masonry, that the anti-Masonic movement was all about. Do you understand me? Am I making that point? Have I made that point? Okay, and we're not even done with Morgan's book yet. We're on freaking page 78. Okay? So please read these books, congregation, for yourself. Okay, next on deck is Southwick. Okay, Southwick is next. So I implore you all to get this book. You can get it online anywhere. It's like $10. I don't even think I think I paid $8.95 or something. I got it used. It's a brand new freaking book, and I got it used, right? I mean, it's literally brand new, and it was never marked in. It was nothing. The page, it still has the new book smell, right? So, yes, congregation, this is no bullshit, man. This is legit history. Okay. All right, where were we? Shit, I totally lost my place now. I went off. Oh, okay, here we go. Indiscriminately, but more especially the trowel. Here we go. Okay, the trowel is an instrument made use of by operative masons to spread the cement. Okay, I told you in before that word cement in like the third video. Follow these words. Okay, cement has meaning. The word cement has meaning. The trowel is an instrument made use of by operative masons, masons of old. They're dead, so they don't know. They're legit making this shit up as they go to spread the cement, which unites a building into one mass. But we, as free and accepted masons, okay, they're creating this. This is a new thing. Are taught to make use of it for a more noble and glorious purpose of spreading the cement of brotherly love and affection. Okay? The city of brotherly love, baby. That cement, which unites us into one sacred band or society of friends and brothers, among whom no contention should ever exist, but that noble contention, or rather emulates, of who can best work or best agree. I also present you with 3 precious jewels. Okay, so that little paragraph right there, congregation, when we get into Bernard, okay, a little bit, Southwick kind of touches on this a little bit, but Bernard really heavily goes into it. The Mason's intentions is to make you a Mason without you ever knowing it, okay? And how they're going to do this is through politics. They're trying to get into the politics, right? This is the warning. This is the political. Now we're into the political movement of the anti-Masonic movement, right? The political party. Okay, they're trying to make you a Mason without you ever knowing it, and they're doing it through politics. That's their intentions. That is the warning. Like, politics is like everything. This entire thing becomes political, right? Because they're trying to implement their communistic order onto you without you even knowing it, right? And remember, their candidate won. The anti-Masonic movement failed. So their candidate won. Okay? So the political implications of this are severe. And then you go in, you bring that into today's world, right? And you look at our laws today, right? Like, look at all the known LDS senators and governors and, all this stuff, right? That we know about, right? This is just what we know about. How they have implemented their laws. And remember, the allegiance is to the lodge. The allegiance is to the church. So you're doing these people, these congressmen, senators, whatever, insert political name here. These people are in our government, and think of how they have altered our government through time, right? Implementing these rules and regulations of the lodge to make you a Mason without you even knowing it, right? Now, keep into context, this is the LDS Church we're talking about here. So the LDS Church has been in power since 1829. Remember who Henry Smith and Noah Smith even are. Look up their names. Look up Noah Smith Jr. Look them up. Noah Smith is, you could arguably say Thurlow Weed is based on Noah Smith. Okay? So there is legit, real historical implications in all of this. This is not conspiracy. This is 100% not a conspiracy. This is historical fact. Okay? These things really did happen. This movement really did happen. There really was a political party, the anti-Masonic movement. There really is a guy named Solomon Southwick that started the entire anti-Masonic movement. At the very first anti-Masonic convention, he is the keynote speaker. Okay? So this stuff legitimately happened. Okay? And in 1827, the warning begins. Well, actually, in 1805, by Solomon Southwick, the warning begins. You better stop this now. It's going to get so big, you won't be able to. I mean, they literally say that. Those literal words are said in these books. Okay? So I'm not making this up. Apostate Congregation, every single video on my channel, you can chat GBT, you can Google, it doesn't matter. Every one of them, every single one of them. Okay? And I get all this information from these books. It's all from these authors. That's why I say I praise these authors. I praise John Beadle, right? I praise Caswell. If it wasn't for Caswell, we would never get the image of Joseph Smith riding off into the sunset on his carriage, because Caswell called him out, right? Joseph panicked, and Caswell standing there in the street like, that's my answer right there. That's my answer. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Okay? Think about these books, congregation. You guys are reading this stuff. You know this stuff. Apostates, you're reading these books. You guys comment, you message me, you tell me your opinions, you tell me what you're reading, you tell me you guys give me books to read. And generally, whenever you give me a book to read that I've never heard of or something, or maybe I have heard of it, but I've never actually read it, I read it, and then I say, the commenter told me about this book, and here's what I thought about the book. So that's like paying homage to the commenter. If you're going to take your time to recommend something to me like that, I think it deserves a response, and that response is the video, right? But I only do that if it's something I've never read, okay? All right, anyways, what's our time, congregation? We are almost done, so let's finish out this paragraph right here on page 78. Okay, I also present you with 3 precious jewels. Their names are humanity, friendship, and brotherly love. Okay. So I wonder if there's any other cities. This is just something that popped in my head just now. I wonder if there's any other cities that have the motto friendship or humanity, right? Because we know brotherly love, we know that one, right? Of course. So I'm curious, right? And that'd be something to kind of look into. Brother, you are not invested. You are not invested. Okay. Remember, invested means your belongings, right? They invest you with your belongings and they divest you with your belongings. So they divest, they take your stuff, they invest, they give it back, or they give it to you, right? Brother, you are not invested with all the secrets of this degree, nor do I know whether you will ever be until I know how you withstand the amazing trials and degrees that await you. Okay, that's where we're going to stop. On page 78, we will pick up with this is where we will continue on the next episode. You are now about to travel to give us a specimen of your fortitude, preservance, and fidelity in the preservation of the Lord. Be with you and support you through all your trials and difficulties. That's where we're going to stop right there for this episode. Okay. When we get into this stuff, I really want you to think of Joseph Smith, though, and just collectively all of the stories that you know and have heard, and just like in a collective, right? Like think about this stuff, right? And when we get into this, I want you to think about Joseph and his trials, his tribulations, his difficulties, okay? Like this stuff all throughout this book. That's what I was saying to you in the beginning. There's more to this than just the signs and symbols, okay? There's other things that are important here, right? And so when you put all of this stuff together, I mean, at what point do you say this is no longer coincidence? Okay, when they are legitimately telling you operative masonry is dead. Nobody knows anything about what these people are referring to as operative masons. It's dead. Like there is nothing there. And these people are creating it. They're taking this stuff out of the Bible and they're creating this religious institution called Freemasonry. Do you understand me? The religious institution is called Freemasonry. In 1830, they separate. Okay? Okay, apostate congregation, like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Remember, this channel is not monetized, all that fun stuff. Okay, the holidays are over, and I still want you to be a good person. Okay, remember, just because it's the season, okay, you cheap bastards, go pay off a kid's school lunch tab. Okay, don't be donating to my channel because it's not monetized. Your $5 you were going to give me for a super chat, go pay a kid's school lunch tab with that $5. Okay, for no reason at all. Don't expect anything in return. Just go do it. Just go be a good person. Okay, it doesn't have to be the season. Okay, are you really that shallow of a person that you can only do it once a year? Okay, just be a good person, man. Help a lady across the street, help hold the door, you know? I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many women appreciate the fact that you hold the damn door open for them. You know, just stuff like that. Just hold the door open. You know, just okay, see ya. Off you go. That's it. Okay, congregation, like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, we are William Morgan. Me and you, we are William Morgan. In the words of the late, great Solomon Southwick, the ashes of Morgan will rise again, congregation. And here he is, right here. William Morgan is right here. He is us. We are him. We are William Morgan. Okay? Thank you, congregation, and we will see you on the other side.